What's up, everybody? My name is Thompson with Self-Sustained Training, and today we are going to be going over the fundamentals of walking. Now, after today's video, you will have a protocol in place that you can utilize every single day to not only start alleviating any chronic pain that you currently have, but use this as a preventative measure to alleviate any potential chronic pain that you could develop in the future. Now, when it comes to working out, there's going to be a hierarchy of needs, and this hierarchy of needs is presupposed by your nutrition. Without eating clean, nothing you do in the gym will really matter. 80% of your gains that you will get from the gym will be explicitly directed by the nutrition and the fuel you're fueling your body with. Now, I've had clients lose 100+ pounds off of simply eating better. So if you haven't already, take a look at the video that I've made on how to track your macronutrients and how to start eating better. That is the most important video that you need to watch because that'll take care of your nutrition. Secondarily to that, you need to make sure you're watching the video on how to fix your posture. That video will be right here. But first, you need to watch the video on how to change your diet in less than 10 minutes. Then you need to watch the video on how to change and optimize your perfect posture. Then we can get into what we'll be doing today, which is optimizing our walking mechanics. Let's get right into it. Like I said, if you haven't watched the video on posture, that's going to be the #1 thing to watch outside of the diet video when it comes to thinking about your biomechanics. Now, your biomechanics is simply just the way you move. Most personal trainers, whenever they're making a personal training assessment on their clients, they will have the client undergo the most fundamental biomechanical test, which is their walking standard. Now, from one kinesiologist to another, they will qualify somebody's walking standard based off of what's known as the gait cycle, G-A-I-T. The gait cycle in and of itself has about 7 to 8 steps, depending on who you ask. But the way I like to think about it is as a simple 4-step process. Now, the 4-step process is simply 4 movements on one side, and if you take those same movements and apply it to the other side, you then have the total of 8 movements or 8 steps within that gait cycle. But to be honest, the 8 steps always confused me, so I like to really heavily consider just the 4 steps to really keep things basic and keep things fresh. When it comes to the gait cycle, there's really only 4 steps you have to consider, and you won't have to think about this every time you walk, but you will have to be mindful of the implication of each one of these steps when executing the walking warm-up. And what we'll be doing in the walking warm-up is holding each one of the successive movements in the gait cycle to ensure that we're strengthening the complementary muscles that are involved when walking fundamentally. So, the first 4 steps of the gait cycle are going to be very simple. The first step is what we'll call an initial contact step. Front leg, every time you step in walking, your head will be over the heel of your lead leg. Head over the heel of the lead leg, no different than walking up a Stairmaster or when walking fundamentally. So, initial contact is going to be that first position. Then we'll go into a flat foot on that lead foot, which is known as the loading response. From the loading response, we'll go into the third movement, which is a single leg hold, which we'll call a mid stance. And notice, this requires a lot of stability, and this will be a workout in and of itself when you first start trying this. From the mid stance, we'll go into the 4th and final phase, which is known as the terminal swing. From this terminal swing, you guessed it, we're back into that initial contact. So then we go initial contact, loading response, mid stance, terminal swing, back into a loading contact. So, you don't have to think about this every time you walk, but when doing the warm-up, you need to be extra mindful of each one of those positions because we will be holding each one of those positions for an extended period of time. So when it comes to the walking warm-up, we will utilize a series of movements that have been codified by the guy who actually created the Bosu ball. His name's David Weck. He has a warm-up that he likes to instill in all of his athletes, especially his sprinting athletes, to really warm up their sprinting mechanics. But the way that we'll utilize what we'll call the Weck method of warming up is we will use the same 3 steps that he codified, but I've modified them to be integrated into an actual series of stretches that you can then use to start fixing your walking fundamentally. So when it comes to the actual walking warm-up, the most important thing to consider is instead of 4 steps of the gait cycle, we'll have 3 important movements. Of those 3 movements, only 2 of the movements will be actually timed. In these timed movements, we'll have a 30-second timed hold, we'll have a 10-second timed hold, a 5-second time hold, and then a 1-second time hold where we're fluidly going through each of the movements successfully. But before we actually execute each one of those movements, we have to know how to execute the movements. So to start off the walking warm-up, we're gonna start off on one leg. This one leg, again, is that mid-stance phase within our gait cycle. Notice how much imbalance it causes me. This in and of itself is a workout. So we're gonna hold this for 30 seconds. This is the first step of that walking warm-up. Notice I have this free side where all my limbs are loose. This will be the most important side when it comes to actually strengthening the next two movements in the walking warm-up. So we've got this mid-swing. Remember, in our gait cycle, the next movement would be that terminal swing. So we'll call the second movement a terminal crunch. Boom. What this is doing, and what you want to do, is really focus on driving the shoulder and elbow down and back while bringing that hip and knee up and forward. So what it'll look like when I'm going from that mid stance to that terminal crunch is driving the elbow, shoulder back while keeping the knee and hip up and forward. From here, I want to try to keep my head in line with that free foot, holding this. Again, this in and of itself is a difficult movement. So if you find struggle doing it, you can have some form of a stabilizing mechanism to really help you hold on. And the way I'll utilize this is in replacement of that free side foot. So if at first you can't hold it by yourself, utilize a stabilizer to your advantage. So we'll hold this again, nice and loose, hold this 30 seconds, mid-stance phase. After 30 seconds, again, you're gonna have to get comfortable utilizing the stabilizer if you're going to utilize it. We'll then go into that terminal crunch, and notice I'm just dropping my hand a little lower so I can really get the elbow down and back, shoulder down and back while raising that knee and hip. Keep that chest open, just like our perfect posture. We don't want to roll the shoulders. Remember the perfect posture, shoulder blades back. Hold this terminal crunch, keep the head neutral in line with that free foot. After 30 seconds, we'll go down, step 45 degrees outside, keeping this terminal crunch. Switch over your stabilizer if you have one. We won't hold this for 30 seconds. This position is a fluid transition right into that single leg hold again, right into that mid stance again. The way you will use this again as the time set for 4 is you'll do 30 seconds on one leg, 30-second crunch, step out, raise up. That's one. That's one total sequence. We will do 2 sequences going one way, 2 sequences coming back, 4 sequences total for one timed duration set. Which means we'll do 30-second, step, that's 1. 30-second, step, that's 2. A lot of people don't have room to keep doing 2 more forward, so we could turn around. 30-second, step, 3. 30-second, step, 4. Boom. Once you've done 4 on one time set, we will then do 4 on the next time set, which would be 10 seconds. 4 sequences for 30 seconds, 4 sequences for 10 seconds, 4 sequences for 5 seconds, and most importantly on the last sequence, we'll get rid of the stabilizer and we'll try to hold each position for a second. 1, step, transition. 1, step, transition. And notice even I have to give myself some stability every now and then, and that's okay. What matters is being able to go through all 4 time sets once a day, and it takes less than 6 minutes. The walking warm-up in and of itself is something that I myself do every single day, let alone have my clients do every single day, no matter their athletic level or their athletic predisposition. Whether it's an obese client who's first starting off in the gym or it's one of my high-level professional athletes, I make every single one of them do this walking warm-up. And in summary, just so we can remember, it's a complement of the gait cycle. The gait cycle is a simple 4-step process where we go from an initial contact step to a loading response, flat foot step, to a single leg mid-stance hold, to a terminal swing, to an initial contact step. Back into that loading response, back into that single leg hold, terminal swing, loading contact. And if we can understand that, we can then transition into the actual walking warm-up. But when it actually comes to the walking warm-up, remember, it's just 3 simple steps, 3 simple movements that we'll do 4 times in 4 different sets. But again, none of this matters if you aren't eating clean first, if you aren't standing better first, and if you aren't mindful of these things in the first place. And here at Self-Sustained Training, that's our goal, is to teach you to be the best personal trainer for yourself, where you can sustain the knowledge yourself long term and never need to depend on a personal trainer or a nutritionist ever again. And if you can track your macronutrients, fix your posture fundamentally, and then start working on your walking mechanics, you've already done 90% of the work when it comes to being your best self. And at that point, if you want the extra 10% of work that you would do either at home with a regimented fitness protocol, or if you wanted to get into a gym and have your own designated regimented fitness protocol, whether it's at home or at the gym without equipment or with equipment, at that point you can browse our catalog of all the different programs we have to offer. Whether you're an intro beginner or you're an advanced expert, we have programs for all exercise levels. And if you don't have 6 minutes a day to start fixing your base biomechanics, you won't have any of the potential benefits from your health and fitness journey unless you take care of the first principles things first. And those first principle things are very simple. Make sure you clean up your eating. Make sure you're standing better. And then make sure you're walking better. And those three fundamental things alone will take care of 80 to 90% of your gains in the gym without even having to get into a gym. And SST offers all of that for free. We offer all of that for free. You can fix your nutrition for free. You can fix your posture for free. You can fix your walking for free. The only cost of entry is that you're willing to pay attention. Because here at Self-Sustained Training, we're here to teach you to be the best personal trainer for yourself, to the point where you will never need another personal trainer ever again.